Welcome to another edition of Token and Tacos. My name is El Presidente. Well,
God would like to interrupt before the show starts.
sorry, God.
Disclaimer, not financial advice. Do your own research for entertainment purposes only.
Sorry,
Now
God.
back to the mere mortals.
All right. So, as I was saying, welcome to another episode of Token and Tacos. My name is Enrique Barreto, and with me, I have Rob the Hairman, Mara Crypto Girl 1, and the one and only Beehive. Today, we're going to be talking about shocking and interesting perspective. Creating a token that reflects to the holders, but instead of reflecting things that are the same token, maybe doing some cake. So we're going to talk today about BabyCake, the token that was released, I believe it was 3 days ago, and is one of the hottest tokens that we're seeing out there. We want to talk to you about what the things that we like about it. I think that the market today is very attracted to, the market knows about reflections. Hey, you're holding, you're selling, you're moving, you're going to get tokens. But typically what we see is the same token that you're investing, such as, for example, SafeMoon, for example. In this case, what we're seeing is a token that does reflection, but it's doing reflection using Pancake Swap's Cakes coin instead of anything else. So that's why it's called
I like
Baby
my
Cake.
reflection.
I know you like. Well, we all like the reflections. We all like to receive. Sometimes we forget about the give and get. But what you have on the screen is obviously the 7% distribution in Cake is automatically paid every 60 seconds and a 3% auto liquidity pool. Now, Rob the Hairman.
All right, there's
right?
more. You missed one.
Well, I know. That's why I'm giving it to Rob the Hairman, because there's these massive marketing plans and all that. Like, what can you tell us about this, man?
Yeah. You know, what stood out to me about this token was, first of all, the 7% redistribution of Cake. Like you said, they're able to redistribute a different token than their own, which I think is really cool and unique. The 7%, it's pretty high. Usually we see a little bit lower than that. So that stood out at the beginning. And then the other thing right below that, the anti-dump, that was new-ish to me. I think the point of that is to prevent big whales from dumping and kind of screwing everybody else. So I kind of like that idea. It prevents that. I think it's 0.1%. You're restricted to selling to 0.1% of the total supply. So it just helps with the volatility. So people are, once they're in it, they're probably in it for the long haul to make sure that they can take advantage of that 7% redistribution.
I like it. Now, I want to give a shout out to God. I don't know if he's doing this, but Brandon is like completely frozen. And Brandon is, not Brandon, Rob is completely frozen. And he's just able to
showing
deliver.
off his great hair.
No, man. Now, Brandon, listen, this is the part of the show where I can tell you I've done some research in the background. To me, the contract looks unique. I discussed this with you prior to the show, and you're telling me, Enrique, you don't know Jack. This contract is not unique. So what can you tell us when you from the bowels of the details of the contract?
Well, the balls of the details of the contract is that it absolutely has some markings and some capabilities that are typical of a reflection token such as SafeMoon. But they've definitely added additional functionality. And the way that this works is it actually takes the reflections, instead of putting it into a pool for everybody to get, it actually sends it over to the BabyCake's dividend paying token contract and is then divvied out from there. It's nice. It breaks it out. It's pretty good. But the problem with that is it does some things. The contract does some things that are pretty cool. The way that it goes, buys the cake, sends it over to the contract. Things like that are pretty cool. You know, like right here, swap tokens for Cake. It's going to swap those tokens for Cake. Add some liquidity. So there is that liquidity piece in there. But here's that contract, the dividend paying token contract. And there is something right here. So I have a problem with this function.
Uh-oh. Is this going to be a huge problem? Red alert. So, boy, go ahead and explain to us, brother. Ask number 5.
Well, basically, it causes some concern for me. It's not I'm not calling this a pulling of any rugs of that sort, but this does have an interesting capability. So what this function actually does is it says, I want to take whatever account that I give it and a balance, which is owned, and this can only be done by the owner of the contract. They can send in an address and an amount, and what will happen is it will actually go and add this over into that contract. So it sets the balance for the account, that new balance, updates it into the token holders map, but then it processes it. This is what my problem is. It basically arbitrarily sets a balance on that contract, and if we follow this process function, the process account, it's the claim. So it actually it withdraws that dividend of that user. So the owner can arbitrarily go in there, set an account address, set a amount on this contract to basically pull out any of the cake that is sitting in there that has been moved over and has not been distributed to any of the users. Now, the function is here to be able to it's set to automatically do that reflection in cake. It all seems to be functioning, but there is that function that I have a problem with. It just leaves a hole. It's one of those things where I'd like to talk to the owner and what is your intention with this function. And I've called others out on it, and they've came up with some, really great novel uses for it. But I just, it's an asterisk.
I think I was reading somewhere that they will be doxxed after a certain amount of sales, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct. So if you are the creator of this token, I know that you put in your roadmap that you would dox yourself after it gets to 300 million, I think it is, or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Looking at you. Please, if you are seeing this, you want to answer this. And the way that you do this is by actually going to our channels and be able to reply about this inquiry, because we do know our contracts and we want to know. Now, Mara, from a marketing perspective, right? From an idea perspective, you have a different peripheral on this. What do you see that you like about this token?
Well, as I'm learning, I did like the fact that you could stake and pool your pancake, and that's what you would earn. But Brandon discovered some things that have kind of like ruined my vanilla latte fantasy. But otherwise, their social is pretty. Their social's pretty tame. I didn't see anything. They're not making huge noise. Their Twitter following is about 4,800 as of today. I think their website looks great. I mean, if you want to talk about color and composition, we can do that all day long. But I think what I noticed was that their actual participation on social is pretty low. But they just launched recently, so I kind of like that because I've seen a lot of people making noise and then not having serious projects. So I'm wondering if they're going to even themselves out. But right now they seem to be just a little slow on the uptake with that.
All right. So I'm not going to call it a ding because I like to read between the lines, Miss Mara, but I see where you're coming for that. So now the time has come. We're about close to be 10 minutes where we decide how many tacos is this thing going to get. Listen, here's what I like. What I love about the product is that just like any cryptocurrency, particularly the alternative cryptocurrencies that are out there, I see some level of a purpose, right? Yeah, we're using the reflection model, but in this way, it's a reflection model on a different token. And people do like to get reflected by it on a different token that they may see a higher value or higher scarcity. So I do like that. I think it's somewhere around 4 tacos, maybe, unless you guys can call my BS on this. What do you guys think?
I'm with you. I got an issue with that function, but I will withhold my my judgment on hearing what the use of it is.
I think we should bring in on this one.
So, what is this? Crypto Girl 1 rocks such a superpowers. Yes, she does have superpowers. She is awesome. The question is she going to be right with our ratings that we're putting in? So, Rob, the hair man, what do you think?
You know, I like the reflections. I like the anti-whaling dump techniques. The little asterisks that Brandon or Beehive, excuse me, called out. You know, I'm not sure yet. So maybe like a 3 with a little asterisk of it might get soggy. You know, and maybe it's a little harsh.
It sounds like God is listening to you. So God, please show us what it is. There it is.
3 tacos crunchy.
Enrique, you have to eat the tacos for me.
Tacos.
Hold on.
Out for the
Thank you.
If something
Oh,
goes
you're getting all up in there, aren't you? Wow, you're really getting in those.